Hi, everybody. This is Lee McQueen, and I'm just commenting on Bernie Sanders and the second episode of Bernie on the Internet, his live stream from last night. And I do think that Bernie Sanders has fallen in love with America, and I think the feeling is mutual. We've fallen in love with him too. We miss him when he's not talking to us. So he got on to his live stream and spoke directly to the people, which I think is a brilliant move. The reason being that our mainstream media has totally been co-opted by large corporations, big businesses who have a vested interest in keeping the people, the population, discouraged and unhappy and afraid and fearful for the future. And that way they can better control us. And so these large corporations that own our media outlets basically are just sending out their press releases through the news pundits who change the byline and then just read it off or just print it as news. And it's basically corporate press releases that we're receiving. And Bernie said, you know what, I'm not going to deal with that. I like when I speak directly to the people. You don't have to speculate on what I'm thinking or even guess or even make up a story about what I'm thinking and what my plans are and how I'm feeling. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Don't ask my neighbor, you ask me. And if you ask me, I'll tell you. And so he told us his plans. Bernie Sanders did not concede. He's not conceding. And he did not endorse anyone. He said his campaign will travel to support down ballot candidates. So his campaign is still active and ongoing. He's not really battling Hillary Clinton or meeting her step for step on negative attacks. And that's not really a winning strategy because Hillary Clinton is the queen of negativity. She's the queen of darkness. And that means that she feeds on negativity. She enjoys it. She likes it. It makes her stronger. She's a big negativity monster. And as long as you keep feeding that to her, she flourishes. And so Bernie's like, I don't have time for that kind of drama. I've got people to talk to about the state of the union, about their futures, about their lives, about events that are happening all around them. And so he got on, he had a rally in New York and it was live streamed. And he brought that usual Bernie magic and joy and positivity and hope and inspiration with him. He spread it out across the Ethernet, the internet, and he made people believe in America. He made them believe in being citizens, and he made them believe that we could have a future. Okay, so as I said, Bernie is very focused on down ballot candidates. People besides the presidential spot below him on the ticket, he wants us to make sure to focus on them and to remember them because they're so very important. And down ballot candidates hold power. And as time goes by, they increase in power. And so, whatever their political leaning, their political philosophy, that also becomes stronger as the down ballot candidate moves up in the political structure and it affects our lives. Bernie Sanders wants to see more progressives fill down ballot spots. And I think that's a great idea. I totally agree. And I really admire his strategizing. I think it's very important. He's dedicated. He's very passionate, very fiery in his speaking of the down ballot candidates. And then also the political transformation and revolution that he intends to happen. In 4 states, there are down ballot candidates who are Bernie leaning. That means that they endorse Bernie, they endorse Bernie's issues, they've shown themselves as being progressive, None of that ambivalence that you sometimes find with Democrat Party members who, speak left and then vote right. These are candidates who speak progressive, they speak future, they speak left, and then they vote left. They vote for the future. They vote for progressive issues. Bernie wants those people to move into office, and so we have to help them get there. We have to help him by helping them move into office so they can help him and help us in a big old circle, and we can go round and round. Anyway, we need to get them into office. 4 states, the Berniecrats are in New York, Oklahoma, Colorado, Utah. You guys are going to be up for voting on June 28th. June 28th, these 4 states, New York, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Utah, have to go back to the polls and vote these down ballot candidates into office. If you want to know who they are, and it's very important to know who they are, don't just check Democrat, 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 because as we've learned the hard way, not everyone with a Democrat by their name is a progressive. And we definitely want the progressive to move into office. And so, go to Berniecrats.net. All of the Berniecrats in these states, these progressives that are waiting to go into office, that need your help, they need your votes, they are listed by name there, name and district and position. Specifically, Bernie Sanders is going to campaign for Eric Kingston in New York. He endorsed Eric Kingston for U.S. representative, and he wants this person to go into office. And then there's candidates in Oklahoma, Colorado, Utah, and a surprising number. In Oklahoma, there are 4 Berniecrats that need to be voted into office. In Colorado, I believe that there are about 14. And then Utah, I believe that there are 13 or 14. So there's a number of people to keep track of, and we want to know exactly their names, which is why Berniecrats.net is the list that you should consult to know who they are. And I want to say that you should not be afraid to vote, even though Hillary Clinton's machine attacked voters previously during the presidential campaign. She's being watched. She's being watched by all of us now. We know what she's been doing. We know what her machine has been doing and how she's been treating people at the polls. We are aware of what's been happening, and we're saying that if anything happens to you at the polls when you attempt to vote, to take your camera phone and take pictures of your documentation, write people's names down, their titles, the time, date, and place and location, and the issue in detail, and send that information to a website called Trust Vote. And the link is going to be in the description. They are collecting these stories, and they are litigating to make sure that no more harm than has already been caused by the Clinton machine comes down to the voters. The FBI is scrutinizing Hillary Clinton. They're watching her. The Department of Justice is watching Hillary Clinton. We're all watching her because we don't trust her. And the reason is she's a criminal. She's a felon. She's admitted to felonious conduct. She's corrupt. She's bought and she's bossed by Wall Street. She works for Wall Street. She does not work for the people. And therefore, she's been attacking people all this primary season. And so we keep track of her. We keep our eyes on her at all times. Don't ever turn your back. You need to have her in front of you so you know what she's doing. But anyway, don't be afraid to go to the polls. You are a citizen of this country. You have a voice to exercise. You have a voice, and you have the right to exercise your voice at the ballot box. People have marched. They have fought and they have died for your ability to do that. So that is your right. And we hope that you do. Not only this, speaking of down ballot candidates, Bernie Sanders mentioned that previously that about 7,000 people answered his call for new blood to come into the political scene, to take over positions at the state and local level. He wants us. He wants me. He wants you. He wants all of us to um, get up, get out, and get cracking. Visit our Secretary of State website and figure out what the deadlines are, what the filing fee is, what kind of paperwork is needed to be filled out, how many signatures you need to get on a petition. Some of you have been circulating positions for Bernie Sanders. Why not circulate a position for yourself? You know how to do it. All you need to do is just be able to walk up to someone with a smile, explain what you're trying to do, and they'll likely sign. But it takes a belief in yourself that you can do it. And Bernie is saying, you know what? You can do it. I mean, I believe in you. I know for a fact that you can do it. But do you know? That's where we need to jump over that hurdle. So it can be done. You can visit your Secretary of State in person, or you can go to the website. You can visit your county clerk's office, wherever you need to go to get this information and start planning your campaigns. We've got people ready already in the midst of their campaign. So that's the first wave that Bernie wants to bring with him back to Washington or back into their state offices. And then you and me, we might be the second wave that comes right behind him. So a big old second wave tsunami of progressives. He said that there were 7,000 at the initial, after the initial viewing of his previous live stream. But as of last night, he said the number is up to 20,000. That's how many people want to either support a candidate or to run for office themselves. And it's great. It's a call for public service. And it's something that it's doable. It's something that can be done. It's not above your head. It's not above your pay grade. He did it. Barack Obama did it. Lots of people high up on the chain of the political chain started out at the local level. Mayor, councilman, commissioner, state representative, and school board, and then they just moved up and up and up, and they affected their communities in a positive way. And so Bernie Sanders reminded people of why he is in this race and why he is still in this race, why he is still active in his campaign. He's not campaigning on negativity or attacks. He's saying, this is what it is. He's just telling the truth, like he's always done. And every time Bernie Sanders tells the truth, people listen to him. They listen to him. He's saying $15 minimum wage. We need to do that. And we can do that. It's possible. He's saying free college, Medicare for all, jobs via trillion-dollar infrastructure investment. This is doable. This revitalization plan, people are trying to say, well, that's a unicorn, that's a fantasy, that's pie in the sky, that's a fairy tale, and it's not true. You're being lied to. They are lying to you because they're trying to discourage you and to bring you down and to make you feel bad. The negativity monster is trying to push you down and make you come to heel like a subordinate dog. That is the way the negativity monster is trying to treat you. And you don't have to listen to that. The thing is, it has been done before in North America. It was done by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He created jobs. The government created jobs, and he used the civilian workforce to build our infrastructure from the ground up. All those telephone poles, all those highways, the bridges, these dams that hold back, the water, all of that was built, from the ground up by FDR. We're at the point where we need to actually revitalize that infrastructure, repair it, maybe retrofit it for, modern living standards, bring it up to modern standards, perhaps install alternative energy sources to run it, but it can be done, and maybe even new structures like alternative energy plants. And again, people are trying to say, well, we can't do that for another 100 years. That's pie in the sky. That's ridiculous. That's the negativity monster. That's oil and gas lobby trying to send their press releases out and protect their corporate interests by saying, you can't do that You have to use our gas and our coal and our oil, and you don't have to let them do that again. It's possible to do this. It's being done already, not just in other nations. It's being done state by state by state. And if you're looking very carefully around North America, there are a lot of initiatives that are taking place at the state level. Things are being accomplished at the state level because, and it has to be at the state level because we lack leadership at the federal level. We do. We lack leadership at the federal level. Hillary Clinton is not a leader. She's saying we're not going to do anything. We're just going to be like we were. Nothing's going to change because this is the way this is all we can do. No new ideas, no creativity, no inspiration, nothing. That's what you get with Hillary Clinton. Like I said, alternative energy initiatives are being done on a large scale at the state level. In Montana, there are large-size wind farms providing alternative energy. Today, now, it's being done. In Iowa, there are wind farms all over the countryside. Farmers have been leasing their land to wind energy companies. They make money. If they're not making enough money on their crops, they must make money from the wind energy that they generate on their land. Iowa is a leader in wind energy. Texas has a vast array of solar farms spread out, all that Texas sun and all that Texas wind on the plains. They are building alternative energy plants. They've already built them. They may build more. They're training workforces. They're providing jobs. People are going out. They're working on these farms. They're building from the ground up. They're maintaining them. They're building more. So it's happening already. So for someone to, these large corporations or the corporation's mouthpiece, otherwise known as Hillary Clinton, tries to tell you like nothing's going to change. You can't do that. It's not possible. It's just not feasible. She's lying to you like she usually does. She has a vested interest in holding back North America and chaining North America to the past rather than pushing North America to the future. And the way she's doing is she's lying and saying that it's not possible and nobody can do it. Montana, Iowa, Texas, California, states all over, that we may not be aware of, they're already doing it. They're already creating jobs. They're already creating these alternative energy sources. So it's doable. Also at the state level, Bernie Sanders is calling for open primaries. He's saying, you know what, let the independents vote. Let's open up the primaries rather than restricting and constricting and turning people away. Let's encourage more people to come out. He wants that. And guess what? It's happening state by state by state. And it's happening at the state level because, again, we have no leadership in Washington. The federal level, the overall headquarters of the Democrat National Party, there's a weakness. There's a lack of leadership. There's a lack of will. There's corruption. Bernie Sanders says it can be done, and it is being done. And it's not just a few states. It's all kinds of states who are opening up their primaries. And the superdelegates, he is also saying we got to get rid of the superdelegates. It's not fair to let one person have only one vote and then another person has 10,000 votes. What kind of democracy is that? That's not even a democracy. And so he's saying, why are we allowing these lobbyists from the corporations be superdelegates? Because some of them are lobbyists from the corporations. Why are we allowing these corporations to disenfranchise 10,000 citizens by voting down their preferred, their stated preference for a particular candidate? That's an oligarchy. That's a straight oligarchy right there. He's saying no more superdelegates. People are listening state by state by state. Democrat state parties are neutralizing the superdelegates. They're either restricting their power or they're forcing the superdelegates from now on to vote with the states and how the state votes, the people in their districts. They are forcing the superdelegates to follow the will of the people, and stop disenfranchising their states and their people in their states. This has been a problem all this election season. And so we still don't know how the superdelegates intend to vote at the Democrat National Convention. We don't know if they fully intend to vote down the people of their states who prefer to have Bernie on the ballot. They don't vote until July 25th. And that's part of the reason why Hillary Clinton is presumed to be the nominee. She hasn't won yet. She doesn't have sufficient delegates. Even all that malfeasance she committed during this entire primary season, she wasn't able to scrape up enough delegates, pledged delegates. So she has promises of how superdelegates intend to vote, but they have not voted yet. So she hasn't won yet. She is not the nominee. She's basically ahead of Bernie Sanders through, rigging and fraud and racketeering, but she hasn't won yet. Neither has Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders hasn't won yet. Probably he would have if it had been a fair fight or a fair election, but it wasn't. But anyway, the superdelegates may vote one way or they may vote another. We won't know until July 25th. So anyway, basically Bernie Sanders framed his political revolution in the same vein as the labor movement. The political revolution was framed in terms of the women's suffrage, in terms of gay rights movement, the civil rights movement. And so he brought it to an understandable level where people could see it's not about the man, it's about the movement. It's about the revolution. It's not about Bernie Sanders. He said that over and over. Now, people want to believe that it's Bernie, because we do love him. But he's saying, you are part of the movement too. When you come out to vote, when you campaign, when you run for office, when you serve as an information conduit and spread the word, you're part of the movement too. So it's about you. Anyway, Bernie has said that we need a modern day Glass-Steagall. The reason being that the reversal of Glass-Steagall by Bill Clinton is what led directly to our mortgage crisis, because Glass-Steagall set into place banking regulations. Bill Clinton got rid of that. The banks got out of control and start making kind of obscene types of loans and setting up obscene lending agreements. And then all of a sudden it came to a head in 2008. Bernie Sanders wants to prevent another mortgage crisis. He wants to rein in the banks and force them to submit to regulations, which they need to do. We deregulated and the banks harmed us. That's what happens when you deregulate. Harm comes to the people. So, it's what we're seeing is that Bernie Sanders has said we do not have to be afraid. We do not have to be afraid of what these corporations have intended for us. We can fight back. We can take back our power. We don't have to wait and watch and wonder and cower in fear. We can fight them, but we have to move into office, and we also have to be very aware of what they're trying to do. And basically, if you want to know what the corporations are trying to do, just listen to Hillary Clinton, because she's basically their mouthpiece. They pull her chain and she barks for them. They yank that chain and she starts just barking the sound bites that the corporations want her to say. And Bernie's like, you know what? You don't have to do that. These corporations, their propaganda, their use of our mainstream media to employ psychological warfare against the citizens, you don't have to submit to that. You can fight back. And the difficulty that Hillary Clinton is having, even while she's instructing her subordinates to attack Bernie Sanders with mainstream media and to attack Bernie Sanders supporters, saying that we need to unify, we need to coalesce, we need to obey, we need to come to heel, we need to support and unify behind Hillary Clinton, we don't have to listen to that. We can vote the way that we want to. It's our vote. And, it's looking like nobody really wants to coalesce with evil. People have been given that choice and they said, no, thank you. We choose not to coalesce with evil. We choose not to unify with evil. We refuse to get behind evil. We don't want to do that. We don't want to embrace a negativity monster. We want some positive thinking. We want to walk towards a bright future. We don't want to fall back into darkness. And so the Democrat Party, under the leadership of Hillary Clinton, is attempting to bring us, the electorate, and perhaps Bernie Sanders to heel. Bernie is a grown man. Haven't people learned that by now? Bernie Sanders is a grown man. You don't tell him what to do. He might do it and he might not. If it fits into his parameters of a moral issue and he supports it, yeah, he might do it. But if it's against everything that he's, for or he believes in, he's not going to do it. You don't run Bernie Sanders. He's a grown man. And he's, besides, he's got $9.2 million of campaign balance. He doesn't need Hillary Clinton to pay off his campaign debt. He doesn't have any campaign debt. His campaign is in the black. And so he can use that for himself, or more likely, he's going to use that to help campaign for down ballot candidates to send them into office, because that's the man he is. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who either refused or was unwilling or unable to pay off her own campaign debt, she had to bargain with Barack Obama in order to convince him to pay off her debt for her. Bernie Sanders doesn't need her for that. She doesn't have what he needs or what he wants, so he doesn't have to come to heel for her. Also, he doesn't want to serve in Hillary Clinton's cabinet, and I can't even imagine why anyone would. Elizabeth Warren, why? I truly feel sorry for her. She thinks that's a good idea, or whatever that's working out to be. Hillary Clinton couldn't even serve in Barack Obama's cabinet without bringing FBI down on her and the entire intelligence community coming down on her. And there's people hacking left and right trying to reveal to us, the American public, all the crazy, zany, shady goings on she committed while she was in Barack Obama's cabinet. We still don't know the extent of it. There's probably a lot more that, would frighten us if we were to read about it, but we need to know. We need to know. And Barack Obama is not telling us. Hillary Clinton certainly isn't going to tell us. So maybe we'll get some transparency from whoever has been managing to rape Hillary Clinton's email server. Gushifer and, Anonymous and whoever's, been able to hack that information, Russia or China, be able to show it to us. So that's what's going on. And with Bernie Sanders, he wants to give you the news from him, the horse's mouth, not funnel it through a mainstream media Clinton / corporate media propaganda machine. And we don't know how things are going to turn out at the Democrat National Convention. It's still a month away. It's about a month away now, and a month is a long time in a political season. Anything can happen. Things can change like that. And we don't know what the superdelegates are going to do. We don't know what the Department of Justice is going to do. We don't know what the FBI is going to do. We don't know what Hillary's going to do. We don't know what Bernie's going to do. We just know what we can do, and that's we can assist Bernie Sanders in bringing more progressives into office between now and the superdelegate primary. That's what we can do. We can just plan for our own campaign. But in the meantime, people are plotting their strategies all the same. They're saying a lot of people who are still pro Bernie Sanders, and of which I am one. They're planning to assist Jill Stein with her ballot access campaign to get more Greens on the ballot in more states, because that's Plan B. We don't know for a fact of what's going to happen a month from now, but what we can do is just strategize in the meantime so we have a fallback. And even if Bernie Sanders does prevail, and it's possible he will prevail at the Democrat National Convention, you can still vote for him as a Green. You can still vote for Bernie Sanders and send him into the White House as a Green. You can vote for him as an independent. If you're an independent, you can vote for Bernie. If you're a Democrat, you can vote for Bernie. If you're a Libertarian, you can vote for Bernie and send him into the White House. If you're a Republican, and some of Bernie Sanders' supporters are Republicans, we can all band together in a coalition and we can vote Bernie into office if we want to. But Jill Stein, who is a near mirror of Bernie Sanders, is the female candidate at the top of the ticket of the Green Party. She's invited Bernie Sanders to join her, and so far he hasn't. But she's mirrored all of his issues. And there are people who have said, well, if things go right and Bernie Sanders is at the top of the ticket of the Democrat Party, we will vote for him. If things don't go the way that we hope and Bernie Sanders is not the nominee, we will vote for Jill Stein instead. And a lot of the younger generation has already decided they know what they want to do and they know what they do not want to do. They were directly affected by Hillary Clinton's attack machine. Hillary Clinton's machine attacked the millennials, attacked Generation X and Generation Y, because they knew that these younger people trended towards Bernie Sanders. And so some of these younger people, they have already left the Democrat Party. They left on Juneteenth, which was June 19th. They just said, you know what, we're going to consider ourselves free of the Democrat Party. We're going to emancipate ourselves. A lot of them were African American voters, younger than 45. They said, we're going to emancipate ourselves on Juneteenth from the Democrat Party. And then there are others who said, you know, they're making their strategy to lead the Democrat Party on July 4th. And perhaps they're already planning to submit their party changes, you know, maybe July 1st or whatever's when that holiday weekend starts. And so they're already planning their emancipation or their proclamation of independence on July 4th, or, you know, before or after, to leave the Democrat Party. And then there's another wave, or another strategy that people have come up with. You know, they're planning to leave the Democrat Party after the Democrat National Convention. So the Democrat Party is losing support. They will lose support. They will lose membership because of the behavior this entire primary season. It's become unbearable, undemocratic. It's anti-citizen, and it's just a negative way of campaigning against the people of the United States. And so everyone's got their strategy, and I just want to say that if all goes well, Bernie Sanders will prevail at the Democrat National Convention. But in the meantime, he's still working hard. He's on the grind. And we can also get on the grind, too, and just help him out and send some more progressives into office, and plan to send ourselves as progressives into office. He needs all of us. He can't do it alone. He needs support, and we can be that support. Bernie Sanders remains the king of hearts, the king of minds. He's won them. He's worked for them. He's worked to earn our trust, our hearts and our minds all this primary season. Actually, for the past 40, 45 years, he's worked hard to transform, you know, our ways of thinking, our ways of feeling, and our ways of seeing ourselves as citizens. And so that's why I'm pro Sanders, still Sanders, and I'm definitely hoping that he prevails not only with the down ballot candidates, but also at the Democrat National Convention. I really just cannot wait to say, hail to the chief, hail to President Bernie Sanders.